Hey, this is Spuddy with Cajun Cooking Experience. We're in Vassar, Louisiana, which is between New Orleans and Baton Rouge, and this is God's country because only the people who live here and God knows where we at. And today we're going to cook a magic dish. It's one of our German coast dishes. If you grew up along the river in St. Charles, St. John, and St. James Parish, roux peas, Petit Pois with the roux. And all this is, you take peas, green peas, and you're going to step it up. You're going to step it up to a whole new level. What do we have in roux peas? We have green peas, which we're going to talk about more about the history of green peas. We have onions. We're going to put a little bell peppers and celery in it. But you don't need that. We're going to put it in, but the main ingredients is onions, and then we're going to have a little sausage. Get you a good sausage. This good smoke flavor is actually what's going to make these peas into magic. And then, of course, we have flour. The flour to build our roux. So to cook our roux peas, we're using butter. Remember, never ever use lard. Always use pure ingredients. Butter is what we're going to use. We have a block of little quarter-pound of butter into this skillet. We have one large onion. We're going to take and cook this down. Now, one thing to remember with butter, it will burn easily, so watch your fire. Watch the fire when you're doing onions. So we're going to start this, but what we want to do, we're going to cook these onions down. We're going to get them about 2 or 3 minutes cooking, and then we're going to bring this flour. We're going to sweat our onions just enough to kind of just soften them up a little bit. Then we're going to bring a little flour in. That flour is what's going to give us a little light roux in here to thicken these peas. Also, I'm going to bring in my bell peppers. We're going to cook all this down a little bit. And remember, the peas are going to cook a long time. So I don't have to kill these onions. I just want to soften them up a little bit. And I'm going to bring a little bit of celery in. Not bringing a whole lot. I actually had 2 sticks cut. I'm actually bringing in 1. Again, if you only wanted to cook this with onions, that is not a problem. Now, these peas, think about peas, green peas like this. Green peas were royalty at one time. Only the royal people ate them, the king's court. Why? These were hand-picked. And as long as they were hand-picked, they were a valuable commodity. They thought they were good for health. They thought they were something magical about them. So royalty ate these peas, and the common folks, they couldn't get this because they didn't have enough to go around. It's when the canning process started, when we actually started canning peas, that everybody can actually have the peas, and then you got into the mechanical peeling of the peas. That's when everybody was able to get them. So now I'm going to bring my smoked sausage in, and all I want to do, I want to let smoked sausage to fry a little bit in this butter before I bring my flour in. Now these roux peas, a lot of people just cook their peas, and they basically just cook them, add some seasoning to it, bland, peas, big deal. But when you add this roux in it, it's very unique to our area. If you grew up along the river, you were making roux peas, or what we call Petit Pois with the roux. Petit Pois being little bitty peas. And you make them with the roux. Why do we make them with the roux? A roux is flavor, and it's going to help thicken these peas so that you can actually serve them like a stew over rice. So a lot of people actually make a meal with the Petit Pois or the roux peas over rice. Now, this is good enough. This is all I want to go ahead and cook this down. I still have some good oil in here. I'm going to take probably, this is a little bit less than a half a cup, about a 1/3 cup of flour. I'm actually going to bring this in. Bring it in a little bit at a time. There's something you have to remember with bringing this flour in. We're not cooking a long time, so you don't need a lot. You're not going to need a lot of flour to thicken this gravy. We'll bring a little bit more. Okay, we're going to stir this in. And you can see, you're getting a little thickness in here. You're getting like a little paste on here. And this is what you want. And you want to let this cook down a little bit. Okay. grab a towel from a hot skillet. And you want to let this cook down a little bit, kind of let this flour fry a little bit before you add your water. Bring in a little chicken stock into here. We're going to start making a little gravy. And this is what's going to be the magic in our roux peas. And as you cook this, it's just going to keep browning on you as you cook your peas. And what I'm adding chicken base in. So you can buy your chicken base, or you can make your own chicken stock. So you can either buy your chicken stock in a container, and that's fine. Watch the salt content. That will affect what you do. Or you can buy you a bunch of chicken parts and make your own chicken stock. What kind of chicken parts? Chicken back, chicken feet, chicken neck, chicken anything that's trashy. Chicken gizzards would go awesome in here. Boil them a long time. So now we're going to add our peas in. As you can see, some of these peas are still frozen. But that's okay. They're getting ready to get unfrozen real quick. Now, because they're frozen, they're going to throw a little water in. So I'm going to let these peas cook a little bit before I add more water into this dish. Get a good mix going on. Now we're going to bring a little bit more stock in. Okay. Now you can see the thickness. You can see the thickness in this gravy. This is going to cook a long time. This is probably going to cook a good half hour, 45 minutes. You can't hurt them. Take them. Once you get them back to a boil, lower them, and just let them simmer. Let them cook. You want to let the peas do their magic. Don't force them. Okay. So now I'm just going to work these peas in and try to get this back to a boil. And when you add your water, just kind of feel it out, but don't worry about adding too much water. You're going to be slow cooking these peas. You're going to take your time. You can cover them if you want. I always leave them uncovered because I can watch it as I'm cooking something else. This is usually a side dish. So normally when I'm cooking this with something else. So it's on side of me and I can keep an eye on it. And I'm just going to get this well blended. And then I'm going to go ahead and just, once it gets to a boil, I'm just going to lower this fire, medium heat, and just let these peas cook and let these peas do their magic. Now, this is about it. So, a couple of things. Why are we cooking this in a cast iron pot? We use a lot of cast iron out here in our area. It was the cast iron has an even distribution of heat. What does that mean? You don't have any cold spots. Whatever heat I have in the middle, I have all the way around this pot. It just makes a better, the way you're cooking your dish, it distributes the heat evenly. So when I'm stirring, stir all over the pot and you never have to worry about having that spot that's going to burn. How long do we cook our peas? There's really no such thing as too long. I would give it at least a half hour. A half hour. Don't rush it. Let the peas work their magic. But you can go longer if you want. The key to it is, as the water reduces, add a little bit more. Let it reduce, add a little more. That is going to make that's what completes the cooking process. Because you're going to thicken it, you're going to bring a little bit more stock in, you're going to thicken it, you're going to bring a little bit more stock in. So now we're going to go ahead and get these peas seasoned. They've been cooking for about a good half hour. If you can see, our gravy is really nice and thick in here. And that's what we like. Oh, yeah. So now, we're going to bring a little hot sauce into it. And you don't have to add hot sauce. And if you have your favorite hot sauce, that's fine. I'll use our New Orleans hot sauce crystal because I like to bring a little crystal into my life. And so all the crystals out there, well, then we're going to add a little sugar. There's nothing like a little sugar into your peas, into your sweet peas. It's going to give them a really, really sweet flavor. Don't overdo it, but it's going to change the flavor of these peas. Now, pepper. I'm going to put a little bit. You see, it's not much. A little bit of cayenne. And I always bring a little bit of cayenne and a little bit black. The reason I do a little bit at a time, you don't want to overdo it. If you overdo it, you can't take it out. And these peas really take the seasoning. And I have some spicy sausage in here, so I know that also threw some pepper in. Now I'm gonna bring about it's like a soup spoon, so I bring that much salt in it, and I'm gonna stir it around. And I'm gonna let that cook in there. And the fun part about cooking is the season it a little bit at a time. Okay, now it's time for the favorite part. It's time to get some tasting going on. Man, let me tell you, get your taste buds ready. Call them all to attention. You get ready to wake them up if they were sleeping. Ooh. These things are going to get you to dancing. Man, this stuff will get you dancing over here. This thing will get you dancing, swinging. Y'all, there we go with our roux peas. Serve this over cream potatoes. Serve it as a side dish to any stew that you're cooking. Man, let me tell you, some homemade cream potatoes with these roux peas on. Oh, it's like heaven melting in your mouth. Ooh. So there it is. Y'all cook y'all something soon, and tell them where you got it at. Laissez les bons tours rouler, baby.